32 teams will each tell 37 players. There's unfortunately just not enough roster room going forward, as the NFL's preseason has just about concluded, and we roll into Week 1. Welcome back to Keep PounDEN. We're live again this week as the Panthers continue to wrap up a tough outing in Pittsburgh tonight as we speak. Keep PounDEN is a proud part of the Riot Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. The podcasts drop each week on iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify. And while you're at it, be sure to check out the rest of our Riot Network family. One Day Contract, It Is What It Is, and the Roaring Riot podcast. I'm your host, Den. You can find me at Keep PounDEN. Bobby and Chris join me each week to break it all down with the hottest and also some of the coldest takes here in the dog days of summer. Tonight we're going to get to a ton of your thoughts. We'll get to what's up this week in our question of the week. Bobby will also hit us with some one-word associations a little later. But for now, let's talk about what went down in Pittsburgh at Heinz Field. Bobby, let's start with you, man. How you feeling right now about these Panthers in 2018?
I feel amazing, bro. Nothing to be worried about. I feel great. I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing now tonight. Totally different situation. We ran into a horrible secondary tonight. As if the secondary itself, the starting secondary, didn't already have issues. We ran into more issues with the secondary, with the third strings, fourth strings, and however it may be. But I'm overall, before this game, 3-0, flat out amazing. I'm loving what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it was a tough time watching some of that secondary. But again, watching a lot of guys who are pretty far down the depth chart. Chris, how you doing tonight over there, man? Proud owner of a new NFL Blitz arcade game.
Yeah. I smoked my son 67-0 already. Really took him to the woodshed, but it's teaching life lessons that are important to me, and I feel like he got one tonight. He's 3 for the record, but he took it like a champ until he cried to mom that I beat him. So whatever. Just taking in this dumpster fire of a game. Another Steelers player just got carted off with a knee injury, so that's 2 for the night. Kind of like Bobby said, the secondary hasn't looked so hot, but our starting secondary hasn't looked so hot either. So, is what it is.
Well, speaking about that starting secondary, a little surprised not to see rookie Dante Jackson out there. Not really surprised for us, but as far as a rookie, getting the pass on the last game, pretty cool.
Right.
So it looks like he will be kind of a sure shot week 1. Hey, speaking about Madden, Chris, how about those uniforms out there, huh?
I mean, this is as close as you're ever going to get to Anquan Bolden, man. This is your great white buffalo.
Dude, you got to wear the black socks. That threw off the whole look for me because I've never worn the blue socks in the game, if you will.
Can your socks be the same color as your pants?
Are you asking me Madden-wise or just in
No, in Madden, it's, make believe. You can do whatever you want, but in the real world.
I think so, yeah. The Ravens are all black pants. Right?
I try not to watch the Ravens play, so.
I believe you can. Hey, well, how about the Saints? What about the Saints? Saints are black pants, right?
Try not to watch them play either, unless I have to.
Anyway, it is kind of interesting when you see a team that's going to play each other in the regular season, kind of roll it out there in preseason. Pretty vanilla on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
There were some highlights and some lowlights of this game, of course. First one, right off the bat, man, Elijah Hood. Your Tar Heel legend buddy there, Chris. It seemed like almost non-contact right on the opening kick.
Yeah, he took a block and it was a clean hit, and a guy got him in the shoulder pad and he just landed awkwardly. And man, sometimes that's all it takes. Thoughts and prayers up for Panic Room, but I think we can all admit he was a long shot, no matter how much we wanted him to make the team. So I guess the silver lining here is if he hits the IR, he'll more than likely just be stashed away on IR and be back in camp next year.
Yeah, he was, there definitely was an argument to him making the team. It wasn't. I don't think it was completely out of the question with how many backs he needed to carry. But yeah, that was kind of a damper. It didn't look good. I've read that he was carted off. And by the way, when you live in Boston and you try to watch the Panthers, I have to stream a lot of games. They don't really go on my TV unless they're on primetime. Through the entire third quarter, the Pittsburgh announcers were talking about how Elijah Hood came back to the game with an injury, and was returning kicks. And I'm just like walking around my kitchen. I'm like, oh, because I had it on my iPad, and I was like, wow, what happened? What they do to him in the locker room? Josh Klein was quick to correct me there on that being Barner the whole time. Another highlight I had, man, Curtis Samuel, dude, is playing, and I tweeted this out. When Samuel was drafted, you kind of looked at him as that yak guy, a quick guy, not really a tough catch on third down guy, but he is playing kind of bigger than he, I said the opposite of Kelvin Benjamin. Curtis Samuel is playing bigger than he is. Most of his catches in the preseason have come in traffic or with a hit immediately after. Bobby, what'd you think of Curtis Samuel tonight and throughout the whole preseason pretty much?
First and foremost, man, just hats off to Curtis Samuel for the bounce back from the injury he had. A lot of people really don't understand what that can do to a rookie's mentality. First season, end up with an injury. For him to bounce back the way he has, kudos to him. But to answer that question, in all honesty, the guy looks honestly like the best route runner on the team. Last season, we felt like Christian McCaffrey was that best route runner on the team. But I got to be completely honest with you. He is getting so much space and so much separation on his routes at this point that is making me wonder if he won't end up being the best receiver on the team. And I have to be honest with you, just the way that he lines up at the slot, he lines up outside, whether it's the number 1, number 2, or number 3, he's making plays. And these are the type of plays we have not seen in probably 7 or 8 years. I mean, we're talking since Steve Smith being able to get this wide open on routes. We haven't seen this in a long time. I'm very impressed. I'm not going to overrate him, but I am going to say he definitely deserves more eyes than he's getting.
Yeah, and you did say him becoming the one of the best receivers on the team. A lot of talk right now is kind of where does Torrey Smith fall in all this, and is he going to take reps away from people like him and Bird? I'm not going to go so harsh on Torrey Smith yet. He knows what he is. He's a veteran. He's not a second-year guy like Curtis Samuel. He's not out there trying as hard as these guys. I think you got to give Torrey Smith a fair few weeks of regular season before we start talking about he doesn't have a place on this team. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Is that fair?
I think it's definitely fair. I mean, a lot of people have to realize Torrey Smith is a veteran. He doesn't really have to prove anything, right? And there are a few wide receivers on this team right now who still need to prove themselves. Curtis Samuel being one of them, Damiere Byrd being one of them. Heck, even some people feel like Devin Funchess still has things to prove with contract years coming up. So there are guys on this roster who still need to prove themselves. Torrey Smith is not one of them. I saw someone say that he should be on the bubble of being cut. I don't think so. I really think Torrey Smith is that guy along with Jarius Wright that we need on the team for veteran leadership. And I think those guys will be great. They're worth keeping around. They're not worth cutting right now. Now, if we're at week 5 or week 6 and this guy is not, for what we saw in the preseason, 2 drops in a game, 2 big drops in a game. If we're still seeing that in the regular season, then, maybe we can have this conversation. But as of right now, he is a secured veteran. I don't believe his job should be in jeopardy at all.
Heard, as you say, Chris. We'll get into that later. Hey,
restaurant people know. They get it.
One thing I did want to mention, Chris, is that, Mose Frazier actually, I believe, leads the NFL in touchdowns in the preseason.
I don't think that's a shock to anybody, man. Frankly, if you didn't have Mose Frazier at the top of your NFL preseason fantasy team draft board, I don't know what you're even doing with your life.
We laid it out for you in the handbook. I don't know what more you want. How to make the Panthers or how to not make the Panthers. Well, actually, it was how to not make and then how to make.
He's defied all odds. So
I like it. Hey, let's get to just a few things. We didn't talk after the Patriots game. I love that, obviously. No problem there with me. Didn't get to watch it. Basically, had to kind of follow along on the phone, and then I went home and watched the whole game. And man, there's some really cool stuff that happened in that game. Some awesome drives, holding the Patriots to virtually 3 points. You can chalk it up to preseason as whatever you want, but one of the guys that turned my head in that game, and we put out some game film on it, was Jarius Wright. He didn't play tonight at all. Which I think is expected, but also kind of shows how much he's impressed the coaches as well. Not myself, not just myself here. And one thing I took to Twitter with it, and as we said many times, we love hearing from you guys regarding really any subject, football related or not. So we'll take a trending topic that resulted in some sort of action on our various social media channels, and we'll share some of your responses here. Chris, I'm calling this herd for you, buddy.
I can dig it.
'Cause, to explain that, anytime I tell Chris, and he basically wants to say I understand, he just says herd. So yeah, we hear you guys out there. Let's just go through a few of these that came in from you guys, and this is kind of going to be a theme for me because I kind of undervalued Jarius Wright. I really thought it was just going to be another Charles Johnson, another Russell Shepard.
Yeah.
That we're happy with the signing, and it just doesn't pan out, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and name this segment "Being Wrong Never Felt So Right," and if you get that, musical reference, touche. But let's go through a few of these. Some of you guys on Twitter at Eddiness says, Wright is what we were hoping Russell Shepard would be, and I think that pretty much hits the nail on the head. As far as what I just said, I mean, you're excited about a guy, you think he can fit into the offense, and he just doesn't. And then you got Jarius Wright out there, as I pointed out, doing things that we haven't seen here in Carolina, making that quick 4-yard out kind of Julian Edelman tough grab, and just moving the sticks, and that's what this team needs, and pretty pumped about that. We'll go on same topic here. I'm assuming Weechert William here on Twitter says, honestly, pretty sad he left Minnesota. I think they messed up when they let him go and picked up Kendall Wright. You guys got a hell of a slot receiver. So, hey, I'm assuming, again, this is a Vikings
Sounds like
fan.
Buccaneers fans last year about Russell Shepard.
Letting us know. At Panther Pride 86, hey, he's our new Jericho Cotchery. Hey, as long as he can hold on to that grab in the Super Bowl, then I'll take that. I'll take that comparison. Yeah. Kind of different player, I feel.
Yeah, he can get upfield still.
Yeah, I was going to say a little shiftier than Jericho, but I get the comparison. Couple more here. At the Real Dro P says Mr. Third Down, which, okay, let's pump the brakes a little here. There's only one Mr. Third Down.
You got your white jersey and black pants, man. It's time to move on. We're having a funeral for Anquan Bolden tonight.
Yeah.
Over.
But yes, Mr. Third Down. I'll take that, and that's, again, what this team needs. So moving those sticks for Cam. And finally, at Strib22 says, yes, sir, even looks good in the number 13. Little jab to
that jersey's like 3 sizes smaller all of a sudden. It's weird.
and the ball is caught, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's our herd segment. Again, being wrong never felt so right. I'll go ahead and admit it. I was wrong about Jarius Wright, at least preseason wise. We'll see what he can do in the regular season. Kind of an honorable mention here, not really related, but we also heard you, Jermaine Carter Jr., 2015, saying Cam Newton is unfair. He's like that player you used to create in Madden. Do you guys ever create yourself in Madden?
I used to.
Never did.
Because I did. And I took a picture of it, and I put it on my wall. I wore number 81.
You should probably keep that to yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
It's all right.
Listen,
at
least
we're not live.
Then you have to retire this 81 speech with the retirement of 81. It has to happen because it's just I don't know, man. Like I feel bad for you in a sense because I know how bad, and it was almost so close, like to getting Anquan Bolden in Carolina, and I never thought it would be close, but it was.
Well, now that
or wasn't it, Chris?
It was never going to happen, man.
He's like, no.
No.
Well,
Okay.
now that I've asked David Tepper for some very
Uncle
simple,
Dave.
some very simple favors, couldn't get that out. I mean, all I had to do was have him be the owner a few years ago.
Yeah.
Because my next thing I'm going to ask Dave Tepper is to put the slashes, our logo, if you will, as far as the podcast, the claw marks, those need to be where the current Panther logos go, with the big Panther in the middle.
I like that.
Right?
I like that.
See what I'm saying?
I'm going to ask him for golf cart parking.
Okay.
At the stadium because it's just really hard out here, and I'd love to ride a golf cart to the game. I mean, who wouldn't? It's just nowhere to park them,
Yeah.
And Uncle Jerry that was bad. Jer Bear, sorry.
Ooh.
He pulled his into the tunnel. What am I supposed to do? Not that I own a golf cart, but I'd love to be a golf cart owner one day. And if I am, I want to have a place to park it.
Right.
You get your slashes. I'll get my golf cart parking.
There we go.
And golf cart.
We're just one thing at a time here. One thing. It is kind of ridiculous, though, that we saw a lot of comments just about the black pants in general. I mean, those have been around since Steve Smith, NFC Championship, 49ers.
5 years.
Yeah. So what if they've just
NFC divisional game?
They've just tucked away these black pants forever.
Because Jerry Bear didn't like them.
I mean, and I even mentioned it on Twitter yesterday or day before. It's amazing how much change has happened. I mean, the creativity
so quickly,
very quickly, and it's almost sad. I tweeted it a couple of years ago, but I said this organization will not win anything. They won't change. It will be dry until the day Jerry Richardson leaves, or unfortunately, the latter. But he's gone now, and we already see in less than a year. Hasn't even been a year yet. How many changes have happened? Cam Newton seems like himself. Even guys like TD, I'm seeing him be more vocal about the small things, the creative side, the uniforms. I mean, it's crazy. Like Dave Tepper is literally one of us, but a billionaire. Like he reacts and acts the same way we would act if we owned that team. And it's crazy. He's so interactive with everyone. I mean, even down to the kids, to the adults. I mean, heck, even our own Chris calls him Uncle Dave. I mean, what more can you ask for, man? Yeah. Can't ask for.
Hey, he literally is one of us. He, hanging out down there at the Roaring Riot tailgate. So, what's up?
There you go.
Hey, let's move it along here. We talked about, we kind of been changing our mind just because it's preseason. Everything's kind of fluid. As I believe Dave Gettleman had that quote once regarding Steve Smith. As to we're going to pick 3 players that were really on kind of our tight bubble. Are they in or out? We've kind of narrowed it down to a few as far as does this player make the team or not at this point, with roster cuts, of course, being Saturday. Let's start it. I'm going to throw it out there. I know you've been pretty vocal about this one, Bobby. I think I know what you're going to say, but I just want to kind of hear you say it. Vernon Butler. What's going on with Vernon Butler this year?
Vernon Butler is nothing more than size in the middle. He was a waste of a pick. Thanks a lot, Dave Gettleman. But here's the thing about Vernon Butler. You see potential in him, especially as a run stopper. Like, you can see that he could play the run, but nothing more than that. Like, when he's on the field, you see him, and a lot of people say, well, he made a stop on that play. And I'm like, well, he made a stop because the player brought that player into him. Like, one of our defenders, like Colin Jones on one play, we had Colin Jones, number 42 for the Panthers, make a blitz. He made a great blitz. And he came around, and Vernon Butler, like he fell in your hands, and people were raving about that. And I'm like, man, if you drop something in my hands, you expect for me to catch it. And that's basically what you get with Vernon Butler. If you get a play from Vernon Butler Jr., it's just simply going to be something that fell on his lap. I've never seen him chase down anything. I've never seen him make a break through the line to put the quarterback on the run. I've never seen him do any of that. And I've watched almost every snap he's taken since Dave Gettleman has drafted him. And he has not been a beneficial player to this defense. If anything, to me, he's holding back guys who could potentially make this roster. So I don't think he should be. I don't think he should make the cut. And honestly, I felt like Carolina should have put him on the trading block while they may have had something with him and gotten an offensive lineman, or packaged it with a pick and got an offensive lineman. But I don't think Vernon Butler is worth the money or the keep.
Chris, what do you got for an in or out? I have some names here. Well, I know that you had one in the secondary that you wanted to talk about.
I'm going to stick to my guns, and I think it was after the first preseason game where he got Haruki Nakamura to just burnt alive, and that's Kevon Seymour. He hasn't dressed for a game since. I know he had the root canal, they were saying. I've never had one, but I can imagine it's very painful. But that guy is just he's a Garrett Gilbert. You can find a replacement level player bagging groceries in Iowa right now, So I'm going to stick to that one. I just don't know why you would keep him around.
Yeah, and I guess if I had to pick one that was kind of on the bubble, and I'll go with the positive side of things. I know there's a lot of talk about Alex Arma actually making the dress roster, not just practice squad, and I do think this offense does have a spot for Arma. So I don't know. I think you've seen him used a lot more out there, a lot more carries in each game. I think Alex Arma is in this roster. Hey, we didn't even talk about Josh Dobbs.
He looked good.
Hey, possible Panther?
If he's free.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard teams were inquiring about Landry Jones, so I'm interested to see if the Panthers were one of them. But I'm not willing to give up much for Josh Dobbs. I don't know how Chris feels, but
I wouldn't give up shit for him, but I don't. The thing that really blows me away is like all these teams who have secure quarterbacks making trades for backups. Like, what is Seattle doing? It's totally escaping me who they just traded for. but they traded a third-round pick. Who did they just get?
Oh, Hunley? Seattle?
Yeah. What do they need him for? You know, I mean, I almost get it with the Saints, you know, with Teddy being quarterback of the future, even though he's not under contract. And I would bet Drew Brees is probably going to play again next year. Did he sign a 2-year extension or 1 year?
Who did you say? Brees? Oh, I think it was 2, right?
Yeah. So I mean, you're going to have to give him or you're going to have to give Bridgewater a contract. I just don't understand, you know, why some teams are going after these quarterbacks. Teams that don't necessarily need them, a team like us giving up any asset for a backup quarterback, I think would be a mistake.
I think the new rules are pushing teams toward depth. So a lot of players are going to be diving at the knees, diving at the ankles now because they're trying to keep from being penalized. So I think a lot of these is like precautionary measures, honestly. I don't see it being any more than that, but I don't understand why you would give up much.
That's what I'm saying. Guys. A third rounder is a lot for somebody. Yeah.
I mean, you just saw what, like you said with Bridgewater. I mean, you just saw what the Saints did in the draft.
Yeah, the Saints will have a first or third next year.
Right.
Right.
You know?
Right. It kind of talks a lot.
Meanwhile, they could have got Khalil Mack for 2 first rounders.
Yeah, exactly.
Talks a lot to their window with what they did with Green Bay there, right, in the draft.
Yeah.
So, interesting stuff there.
Got a Tar Heel touchdown on the board. Quick update. Bug Howard fumbles and then recovers his own fumble in the end zone.
Hey, Howard, they were just talking about him in the second quarter. They were saying they haven't seen much from him. I'm glad he was able to get on the board, man.
Tar Heel legend.
Hey, didn't make your Mount Rushmore, but
no,
one nonetheless. When Taylor Heineke runs, he's amazing. Like, as far as a backup quarterback, I think that is something the Panthers have to value. You can't just throw away your style of offense. You know what I mean? To have like
that's what I never understood about Derek Anderson.
Right. So in that regard, people like Josh Dobbs, even Heineke, if you had to pick a backup, I would take him over Gilbert.
Yeah, and I think they will.
Just for that reason, yeah. Again, you got to be able to run those read options, and when you're benching your quarterback for not wearing a tie, you can't throw that pick six first play.
Yeah, so, he might be. Heineke may be on the roster. When's cut? Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday morning.
Saturday morning. He might not be on the roster the following Saturday morning. It just all depends on who gets cut elsewhere. We've seen that in years past where players that we were pulling for made the initial cut, but then 2 days later, corresponding moves and they're out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, a few more things. Haven't heard anything terrible about the offensive line since the big news. You got to take that. You got to take that. Yeah. As far as you can. I mean, we had worse news with our starters. So weird, right? Just moving along, a couple more things. We're going to hit up a couple more segments here. Hey, just wanted to throw out a little plug. Check out some of the work that Kevin and the Riot Report did in the locker rooms, talking to the Panthers about updating your iPod. Literally called Update Your iPod, where they're going to be creating an ever-growing Spotify playlist. And really what it's doing is teaching me and Zach, I think Zach actually made the joke, how out of touch we are with music. Because I'm like, I've never literally even heard of any of these artists. But hey, I'm listening to it in my car. I'm swag surfing, if you will.
Man, I heard some songs that I don't even like, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that it? Is that like, yeah.
That's a Shaka
I think
Bra.
This is the Metallica, the metal.
Gotcha.
This is Shaka Bra. Hang loose.
Yeah.
Isn't it like a Samoan thing too?
I thought it was Hawaiian.
Surfing.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, surfing.
Okay, gotcha.
Surf's up, dude. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Anyway, what are we talking about?
They invented it.
And finally, some news. David Tepper handing out a ton of backpacks this week. That was pretty cool. And they're backpacks, not knapsacks. There's this guy at my work that says knapsack all the time, and I can't do it. Every time I turn around, I'm like, come on, man.
I bet he goes to the grocery store and calls it a carriage and not a grocery cart.
Yeah. Ooh, I call it a carriage.
Yeah, you
dig it, then. I mean, then you're also from what?
My bad.
Yeah, I'm disconnecting.
And that's it. Anyway, cool stuff. David Tepper, again, just really making a splash here, even just in a few months. So, hey, we're going to keep it moving along here. Let's hop into our one of our new segments. Each week we put up a question to our followers on Instagram and Twitter. We ask you guys, what's up this week regarding a certain topic? We take a handful of your answers, we use them here on the air, and it's all fun. Everyone's happy. So here we go. Let's get into or actually the question of the week. Let's put it up here. We didn't start a lot of this tonight. I still think this is a great topic, even though we put this out a few days ago. You know, with the variations we've seen of Damiere Byrd, DJ Moore, Kenyon Barner, who's not Elijah Hood, by the way, according to the Pittsburgh broadcast, and we saw a little bit of Austin Duke. He's kind of out of the question, I think. With those variations in the preseason, who wins that Panthers punt return job? We've talked about it a bunch on this show about putting your playmakers back there, right? It's kind of an awkward conversation where you say, who can I put back here, and it's not a disaster if they get hurt, right? I mean, I can't be the only one that thinks that, right?
No, that's fair.
Because when I play Madden, I just find the fastest guy, and make him the punt returner. I'm not going to put McCaffrey back there, and I think that you should somewhat handle real life the real way. I get that Julian Edelman, Steve Smith, these guys have made big impacts. But again, with the way that they've been really rotating it, really giving all these guys a bunch of reps, who wins this job? And we asked you guys that question, and we got a ton of responses, which is great. So we'll put it up here. Let's just go through a few of them. At Black Blue Maniac, our buddy Gene Farrell, actually, you've probably seen him at the games. This was granted, this was yesterday. I think he put this in. He says Barner. He just thinks this was when Hood was still
I agree.
out there. He thinks that there's just more of a chance that he actually gets that RB3 spot and to be active than Byrd if they keep 6 wide receivers, Moore being his second chance, or choice rather. Yeah. When it comes to my opinion, DJ Moore shows flashes that he could be very dangerous, but he's also made some kind of weird decisions. He ran backwards once. He's very shifty. I just feel like he's kind of that guy that makes too many moves and takes a big hit. So I don't know. Bird's my guy, but let's go through some of your answers here. Our buddy Chris on Twitter says Bird is by far the best returner on the team. He thinks he's more valuable than the other guys. I kind of agree. I think Bird runs and kind of hits the holes quicker, where you get a little bit of dancing from some of the other guys. So,
but is that worth keeping a roster spot? That's my only argument.
Well, if it's Damiere Byrd, I think that I don't think that he's just a punt returner. I look at Damiere Byrd as a receiver on this team. I mean, we saw what he did. I do too,
but I just don't see how he's going to get on the field.
Man, that's tough because we got Lynn who
Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, and we have Lynn who just kind of like commented, and she said that's the only way she thinks Byrd will make the roster this year.
Throw that right up here.
Yeah, and she said that's the only way she thinks he'll make the roster, and it's tough because I love Byrd, but I agree with her. Like, I think that's the only way he can make this roster, man, and it's sad because we've seen what he can do. It's the butt touchdown from last year, by the way. We've seen what he can do and his talent, but it just sucks, man, that we're finally at the point where we got options at wide receiver. And these are the unfortunate situations you deal with when you have options. So
it's pretty night and day as far as the receivers go. Let's see what some of the other answers were. At Rika, I guess Rika Will. She says she hopes they give it to Byrd. She also doesn't like the idea of Moore returning the punts. We're less than a year removed when we had practice squad guys either catching or dropping touchdowns in the playoffs. And Byrd, I think Byrd has proven himself as a good punt returner, and I do agree with that. We'll take that one away. What am I doing? There we go. Last one at Grant Vincent 15. He says, hey, everyone's all about Byrd. He doesn't get it. He only has 8 total returns. He says kick returns. I think he might mean punt returns. Either way, he happens to bring one to the house, and we think he's going to be Devin Hester. Fair.
Did you block him?
No, that's a fair point.
Yeah,
to sum that up, it's a very
3 kick returns ever, for touchdowns.
Exactly, a very small
1 out of 8 is not bad.
I do think he hits that hole hard, though.
I mean, here's the thing.
Call that a hole.
Byrd has vision. He runs forward, right? When we get with Kenyon Barner, DJ Moore, those guys like to run side to side, right? Byrd finds the hole and he hits it. That's what I love about him. Like he looks for the play. Like he looks at it how it's drawn up in practice. Right? He's not out there like, give me the ball and I want to make a play. He's looking at it like, I'm going to let my blockers make a play and I'm going to follow the route. And that's what I love about him. He plays the game. So I understand what he's saying, but I don't know, man. Bird probably has the best potential at that position than we have, other than Christian McCaffrey on the roster.
I agree. Let's bring some of these live comments actually from Facebook. What's going on, Brandon? Brandon says 1-8. I'll take those odds.
Yeah. What's up, Spence?
Hey, there you go. I'm learning these little animations. It's kind of cool. Anyway, yeah, Spence says 1-8. He'll take those odds. Hey, Carlton says he'll cry when Bird gets cut. It would suck if that's how they end up valuing him. Is that the only way you make this team as a returner? Now, don't get me wrong. Kenyon Barner he won a Super Bowl. Had some pretty good returns last year. Nothing crazy, but
he had a touchdown or two last year. Didn't he have a game with 2 touchdown returns?
Well, I think punt return is kind of a punt returner is that kind of what that comment said. You get a touchdown and you immediately jump above kind of everybody else. You remember that one touchdown, right? You don't remember, did this guy just come out to the 20 and get hit? Did this guy, make bad decisions as far as fair catching and whatever? Those things kind of get swept under the rug if you get a touchdown, right? I mean, when we look at someone like Bird, I see him consistently getting, more yards than we've seen before. I mean, we had McCaffrey back there. That didn't really work out. To be honest, I don't really know why. That might not have been his fault. You do have to bring into consideration that Chase Blackburn is now in charge of this group. It's a new coach. So that can also kind of have an impact on who's actually catching the ball. We'll take one more of your comments. What do we got here? This is actually what I was referring to a minute ago. Abby saying, Moore ran backwards twice in the same game, punt returning. So, it's going to be kind of a battle out there. I'm interested to see who really kind of gets that job. Maybe it will be multiple people. I don't know. We've seen the season go on where it gets kind of interchanged. It's just a matter of if these guys will actually still be on the roster. Obviously, DJ Moore will, but
I think the only time you go ahead, Chris.
Nope.
No, go. Okay.
Can't unzip.
All right. So I think the only time we'll see like somebody like Christian McCaffrey or DJ Moore get in back there is if it's fourth quarter and we need to score. Like I think that's the only time you're going to see something like that. I think, man, I operate off of hope too much with this Panther team, but I really think Bird will make the team. I really think he will, and I think we're going to be fine with him returning back there. And we'll make that guy you should have blocked eat his words. So that'll work.
There you go.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, this is not a knock on Bird as a player, but let's be real, he's the 6th man on the depth chart as a receiver. And if he's going to make an impact, it's going to be on special teams. There's not going to be a whole lot of opportunities for him to get on the field if things are going our way. So, I mean, he's definitely by far the number one option in my book as the kick returner. I just don't know if it's worth it, especially now with the lack of depth at running back. So who knows?
Yeah.
Well, again, a lot of people are kind of bummed out that Torrey Smith could technically, or Bird rather, could actually jump over Torrey Smith.
You guys remember when everybody got upset about Ted Ginn being signed to be the number one? Yeah. So what do they know?
We'll see. All right, man. We're going to hop right into another segment that we have this week. This is kind of a Bobby creation, if you will.
Bobby creation? What?
Yeah, we're calling it the word on the street with Bobby. We're kind of winging it with the names this week, but that's what we'll call it this week, all right? How's that?
Sounds good.
Bobby, go ahead and tell everyone how we're going to play this game.
This is a simple segment. So I'm the judge. I'm the only judge. They will follow what I say and do what I say as I say. All jokes aside, I'm going to say a word, a term, a team, a player, a coach, an owner, and they're going to give me one word. So here's the thing. Hand has to go up once I say the name or the term, whatever it is. I'll see whose hand goes up first. I'll pick that person. They can't say, they can just only give me one word. They can't give me a phrase, a sentence, only one word. So we can proceed.
Okay, well, you just threw the whole hand rule in there on the fly.
I did.
Okay, we're doing it live.
I tell you what to do. It's my show. It's my segment. I mean, your show, my segment.
All right, and if you say or or really anything that's not just one word, you do have to put $1 or $20 into the Anquan Boldin Pro Bowl jersey donation fund. Okay.
Oh man,
because it's a win-win for me. If I lose, whatever.
I just can't. Oh man. This Anquan Boldin stuff is horrible.
You gotta let it go, man.
Hey, Bobby, why don't you start with Chris first? I don't want to do the hand thing.
You don't want to do the hand thing?
It's not fair.
I know, man. Yeah, that is true. We got to get like buzzers or something. We'll get some type.
We'll get it next time. Yeah, hey, you start with Chris, and then I'll go on first on the second one, and then Chris will go first on the third one. How's that?
I love it.
All right, let's hear it. Chris, you're up.
All right, Chris, you're up. You ready, my man?
Hit me.
Sean Payton.
Vicodin.
Ooh. Really?
Yeah.
Ouch.
That's literally the first thing that came to mind when you said Sean Payton.
God dang it. All right. Time out. Why did you say that?
Because he's addicted to Vicodin, and he was stealing them from the team's doctors and whatnot. You never heard about that?
Yes, I did. You told me about that, as a matter of fact. And I was like, all right, that just reminds me. All right, Den, you ready?
Yes.
This one hits home for you. Bill Belichick.
Legend.
Okay. Well, I already know the reason you said that. So that's great. That's great. So coming back to you, Chris. Last but not least, Dak Prescott.
Regret. Because I bet he regrets posting that picture on the internet the other day.
Oh, regret. I thought you said grit. You cut out there.
Because of his dick pic that surfaced.
There you go.
I bet he regrets that.
He definitely does.
Awesome. Hey, well, that was fun. We'll do those each week again. One-word answers on 3 trending topics in the NFL. And if I can spell Prescott right next time, it would be it'll be more fun for the people at home. It's kind of hard to keep up with you guys.
It's not like we're live though, right, Dan?
Yeah, we're not live. Yeah. So no one's watching, so we can make all the mistakes we want. So anyway, we are coming towards the end here. Again, Chris, I just want to point out that you did get that NFL Blitz game. Can we talk about that for a minute?
Yeah. What do you want to talk about?
How you have an NFL Blitz game?
I told you I was getting one. I want to bet against a buddy of mine who owns a couple arcades. He was up 3 scores going into the fourth quarter, and so I was like, I bet you this game I can win. He's like, well, what are you going to give me? He's like, don't need to worry about it. I'm going to win. And I never beat him. We used to play 5-6 games a week. Now we only play probably like 5 or 6 a month. And I was probably like 1 out of every 10. A couple bad turnovers, and Kerry Collins drove them down the field, beat the Tennessee Oilers, because they were still the Tennessee Oilers that season. And I won the game, and it just finally got delivered today. So,
congrats.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Good job, man. Good job. We're coming towards the end here. Again, hey, thanks for you guys for jumping on. We're kind of jumping around to the social networks. We did Twitter last week, and I realized that Periscope is literally awful. I know not everyone has Facebook. We're working on actually hosting these on our own website. We're actually on the Riot Report. So hopefully going forward, these will be a lot more, kind of official. I don't know the word I'm looking for. But thanks for hopping on Facebook. We might even hop on YouTube sometime. And
I still think we should do MySpace next week.
Yeah, well, them and Friendster haven't gotten back to me, so we'll see.
I think it's worth a shot.
Hey, shout out to Kyle Allen, man. I got to get me a Kyle Allen jersey. He went off tonight. So
my cousin, man.
He did.
Got to do it. Got to do it.
Again, before we go, PounDENN is a proud member of the Riot Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Got to give the cool plug there to those folks over there, and check out our family on the pod here. One Day Contract. It is what it is. Roaring Riot podcast. We're gonna close it off this week with one more segment that we're calling bulletin board material. We've kind of had similar things. We've said Cam Newton makes people stupid. Basically, if you log on to Twitter and you're a Panthers fan, you see about 95 dumb things every single day. So we're going to take those, we're going to throw them on our little bulletin board, and hopefully, by the end of the year, we can kind of laugh at them. Most of them are going to be things that Skip Bayless and Colin Cowherd have said, and it'll be fun. So we have a blank bulletin board this week, and I'm going to go ahead and pin. I have one pin, but I also have kind of an honorable mention. Bobby, I know that you were out there kind of challenging, I think it was Ross out there, as far as saying the Panthers, and Sports Illustrated saying that the Panthers are going to go 7-9. Sports Illustrated making that article. I think also picking the Falcons to win the Super Bowl. So we'll go ahead and pin that right onto our bulletin board here, and we'll put the 7-9 up there. Another thing that came out was Bill Simmons, local writer here. You all know from ESPN. Talking about Cam Newton's MVP odds and talking about how he thinks he's a sneaky pick this year for MVP, and talking about why everybody hates Cam, and basically saying he doesn't know why everyone hates Cam, calling him the Russell Westbrook of the NFL. He goes up and down. He's kind of flamboyant. But besides that, he can have some pretty intense seasons. So he was going around the league and checking out MVP odds. Jimmy Garoppolo, Andrew Luck, and Patrick Mahomes all have better odds to win the MVP than Cam Newton. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he's going to win the MVP, and I'm not just being a homer. But how can you say that? Andrew Luck, as Bill said, is on arguably one of the worst teams in football.
And not to mention he has another injury.
But then again, I guess I'll back up for a minute, and, does that speak to how do you value MVP? Do you have to be a winner? Like, do you know what I mean? Do you have to go take your team to the playoffs? Or can you say, without that guy, that team goes 0-16, right?
I mean, honestly, I think they need to change the name of the MVP award, because it's not based upon most valuable player. It's not. Because if you really take a look at the players around the league who are most valuable to their team, I mean, it's really they just need to call it the best player and the best team award. Because if you talk about MVP, literally the same 5 to 7 people would win it every year. Man, maybe not even that many. Maybe 3 to 4 people will win it every year. When you're talking about most valuable, it's horrible. It's whoever has the best record and trending towards the Super Bowl is going to be the MVP. Period.
There you go. And finally, I do love this. Lynn calling you out, Bobby, saying that you need better lighting. You're a photographer.
I saw that.
Come on, bro.
I saw that. And Lynn, here's the thing. Lynn, you're the light of my life. So every time you make a comment, I shine.
Room just lights up. Yeah.
I really appreciate it. But all jokes aside, I'm working on that. Den has cut my pay in half.
That's right.
He's put me on a final warning. I have to get my lighting correct. And Lynn, I'm going to do it just for you. I'm going to call it the Lynn light. The light of Lynn. Actually, the light of Lynn.
Yeah, I like it.
Perfect. And you got to put a little sticker on it that says that,
For sure.
Anyway, we did go a little over. We're trying to keep these more towards the half-hour mark. For like about 3 years, I tell these guys, we're going to do a half hour tonight, I promise. And it's like an hour and 50 minutes.
50 minutes later, yep.
Exactly. See, we just said the same number. So anyway, we'll get going. One thing to think about, Aaron Rodgers getting that monster deal this week. I think every quarterback you see will be the highest paid quarterback. But, what does that mean for Cam? Boston radio tore it apart today. An argument that I don't really follow all the time with Brady because, Brady taking those pay cuts, it's a lot easier to do when you're married to Giselle. You got to look at it in that way. But, Brady being so far down than all these quarterbacks. And, I think it is kind of concerning. We all love Cam, but hey, his payday is coming up. And the more these quarterbacks get paid, the more we got to sacrifice for Cam Newton. We'll see. I know he loves the city and all that. So
yeah, I don't know that. I think Russell Wilson's next, right? And then the next big one
sounds about right. Yeah.
I don't know that Russell Wilson's deal will do or get the same kind of money that Aaron just got. I really don't.
And it was
you're talking that he's the best quarterback in the league, and he just got paid accordingly. I don't know. I don't know that Russell's going to get that.
The only thing that makes it bad about that is the freaking Kirk Cousins deal.
Yeah.
That's what makes it horrible. Like, people are going to judge based upon the Kirk Cousins, but they should not go over Aaron Rodgers, but they're going to judge based upon the Kirk Cousins level, and Kirk shouldn't have got what he got. So
no.
Yeah, and they were actually talking on the Sports Hub today in Boston here about how the age is kind of coming where we're seeing less franchise quarterbacks live on one team.
Yeah, the blueprint is draft a rookie quarterback,
right?
Throw all the money you're saving from him on every other position, win, and then reset.
Yep, and they were ranking the classes. Obviously the older ones now. Brady's class is kind of the Roethlisbergers, the Rodgers, and then you kind of get into Cam's class, and I think that's where it kind of starts fizzling out. You're going to see a lot of players kind of jump around teams. And, Cousins did screw everything up. So
he didn't screw anything up.
Well, I mean,
the Jets and the Vikings screwed everything up.
Right. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
His situation did. So anyway, that's going to do it for us, man. Hey, dude, the preseason's over. That is nuts.
Woo! We made it.
And we made it through to week one, of course, next Sunday, week one, 4:00 game at Bank of America Stadium. We'll get into our we'll do our same pod next week. We'll actually be previewing that game. Hey, we'll do some NFL picks this year. How's that? So we did, and so Billy Marshall, you guys probably all know him from Twitter.
What's up, Billy?
Yeah, what's up, man? He in a nice way. I'm not talking negative, but he called us out, saying that picking the game, just the game, is too easy. You need to have the spread. So then the next year we said, okay, Billy, we'll do the spread. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys. What do you want to do this year? Spreads or no spreads?
Spreads.
Because I dominated both, so I don't really care.
See,
it's not
Chris,
up to me.
I told you. Every chance he gets, he's going to bring that up. I told you.
See, I'm far too humble to talk about
spreads,
how good I am at spreads.
Or I could just do spreads if you guys want to have like a little chance or something. I don't know.
What do you mean, like a little chance? See, Chris? There's another one.
Doing it again.
It's just like he can't help it. But it's okay.
Watch this. Anquan Bolden retired. He's never coming back.
And we'll see Chris right out of there. Anyway, again, we are on the Riot Network. Check out all the good stuff. We're going to be doing a lot of good live stuff. We're going to be hitting the road. Week 2, Chris, we'll both be in Atlanta. We'll be on the headsets. We'll be at the tailgate. We will be we'll be doing this, man. The season's finally here. We got a little lazy. Well, not lazy. I got lazy over the summer. As far as not doing these live anymore. So fun
Chris,
having you guys on.
Lazy. This guy works all day long.
Lazy as far as I didn't want to like comb my hair, and I wanted to wear my pajamas and just talk to you guys and hit record and put out a podcast. And then I realized I missed interacting with the fans. So
for the record, I didn't comb my hair.
There you
and
go.
I'm in my pajamas. So
again, throughout the week, we're gonna be building the shows. All as you saw this week, questions come out Mondays and Tuesdays. I got Hot Take Fridays. I love Hot Take Fridays. I haven't done it in a little bit, but join us for those. We're gonna get you guys tweets, your Facebooks, Instagrams. Hit us on any social network. We're gonna bring it on here, and we'll take some calls too once we get more familiar with this stuff. But hey, we're going on to week 1. 8 turnovers isn't going to do it against this defense for Dak, so he'll probably regret that as well.
I just had a really good idea.
What's up?
Instead of Hot Take Friday, we do Hot Light Friday, and we get Krispy Kreme to sponsor it.
Boom. We'll see you next week, Krispy Kreme. Hey, we'll talk to you guys Thursday. We can't wait to hit this, man. Week 1, Bank of America. See you there, Cowboys. Keep pounding, guys.
See you on the other side.